housing in our community. We have a lot of manufacturing plants. We don't have homes for these people at all. And we are just everywhere we go with housing, it's a roadblock. So to have somebody that's willing to do this in your community is huge. Not only for the people who are looking for that Clear Lake vacation home, for your Clear Lake residents. If you're going to have 117 new homes, that's amazing. That's 117 families that are going to shop, eat, and dine in your community. They're going to spend money. They're going to give you sales tax. That's huge. We would love to have that in Clarion. We don't have a lake. We have 5 miles from our community, a lake. You have a huge benefit in a lake. So yes, you have a drawing card. I also sit on the board of the Iowa Motor Truck Association. And 3 weeks ago, we had a speaker. We always have excellent economic speakers, and we had Dr. Kaveh Chawla. That's a big name. He's from Foresight Economics, and he is a biopolitics doctor that speaks on economics. And what he spoke to us on was not only trucking, but he spoke on world politics. And one thing he stated to us is home ownership today for the new generation is going to become really hard, if not impossible. He actually said in his speech, park model living is becoming the popular new way for people to get housing. They can afford it. The younger generation can't afford the interest, they can't afford the down payments, they're never going to be able to have home ownership like we all enjoy. Sadly, that's just a fact that's happening in our world today. So he said this is the new living that is going to become very popular. Not only did he say people can live and work anywhere, so this is very appealing to them because they have a very small investment, they can sell it and move wherever they want to move. So as far as people not taking care of their property, I don't see that at all as a problem. I think people are thrilled and honored like we are to be a part of this wonderful community. We have looked for years for property here. The timing was just perfect. We didn't really intend to buy 2, but that just kind of happened, and we're super excited to be here. So I think as a community, I really hope that you guys look at what Dennis and Brandon have done and have a vision for your community, because so many communities in Iowa would beg to have this vision. You have a beautiful community, and this is going to let so many more people enjoy your community. So I really hope that you consider it for him, and we are excited to be a part of this community. So thank you.
Thanks. Go Cowboys.
Mr. Mayor, City Council, thank you. My name is Troy Hobscheit. I guess I probably will spell that like Hobscheidt. And I live at 1500 South Shore Drive, number 41. And I am here supporting the resolution and zoning change. To give you my background, I grew up in Britt, born and raised. So I know Clear Lake as a youth and growing up in the summers and all the activities. I joined the Army right out of high school and served 20 years, and then decided to move back to Britt around family for my children. I taught for about 10 years in the local area. About 5 years ago, we purchased a camper in the backside of Lakeside Acres, a permanent camper. Went and bought a brand new one, which I think was a requirement at that time. It had to be new. And we've just really enjoyed it. We learned, we fell in love with the community, the people. We had some friends that exposed us to Lakeside Acres. And then about 2 years ago, we decided that we liked it so much. And, you know, and some of it is a lot of it is Clear Lake. Compared to Britt and other small towns, Clear Lake has a lot to offer. Stacy at the Chamber, all you guys, the citizens, business, you know, there's just so much activity and things to do in Clear Lake. And my kids graduated and we were empty nesters, so we were looking for that. So that's why we made the decision to come to Clear Lake, and we found Lakeside Acres and fell in love with it. So we brought a brand new, and like Melinda said, I catch myself saying trailer as well. And to me that does, even when it's presented, I hear it in the community, and we talk about trailer parks, and it has such a negative connotation. And I'm not saying that anyone here says it, but it almost makes me feel like a lower class citizen. You know, so that's frustrating. I like the term manufactured community. We go to Arizona, we go to Florida, and we stay in these communities, and that's how they present it, market it, you know, because trailer is negative. And the industry just doesn't use it anymore. So there's just like the status and stereotype. I'd like to see that change just across the board. The other thing was the density. You know, I actually was looking for smaller lot size for less maintenance. I used to live on a big acreage and different things and a lot of maintenance. And I think there's a lot of people out there that are looking for that same thing. Now, I know there has to be some restrictions, but I think with that density and the smaller community, and I've been all over the country, Alaska, I have more interactions with the community in Lakeside Acres than I have in any other communities I lived in. And that's daily conversations. We talk, we sit on the deck, and I don't see that a lot in other communities, so that's another reason why I'm there. I've also heard some of the opposition with some, in here tonight, and that's fine, but also in the community, talking about comparisons in the other parks and lots that are empty. I just don't think we should talk about that kind of data when that doesn't represent Lakeside Acres. To my understanding, there's 0 lots available in Lakeside Acres. Yeah, Brandon? So I don't, and I know a lot of people that are my friends, people are saying, let me know. I referred someone a couple years ago that was looking. So I just think that should not be compared. I also think what Brandon and Dennis have done in the last 5 years, I don't think there's an established community. It's over 50 years old, I believe, 1970, I think, that has more improvements in the last 5 years in Clear Lake than that community alone. I could be wrong. I don't go everywhere in Clear Lake, but I think it looks pretty darn nice. The park, we use the park, play volleyball, do different things. Talking about it being it's very underutilized right now. You go there, I know they do volleyball on Wednesday nights, and there's some people there on weekends and for some events, but other than that, it's bare most of the time. So I don't necessarily know that would be an issue. Obviously, it could. I guess the last thing that is talked about a lot are all these, the what-if scenarios. Well, what if someone else buys it? Well, what if this? And, well, I'd reward what they've done. What have they proved to us in the last 7 years? I drove here tonight, and I'm not knocking any houses, but there's 10 houses on the way here tonight that are in need of more repair than any trailer or manufactured home in Lakeside Acres. So, and I'm not knocking those homes, and I know everyone does a hard job or, working hard, but when you're knocking what we have, it's hard to look and see the other way when you see these other things in the community, and why are we being singled out? We love it. We love Clear Lake, and that's why I'm here supporting them tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for your kind remarks to our city, too. Appreciate that. Welcome.
Scott Kennedy, Kennedy, 2309 Main Avenue, Clear Lake. Mr. Mayor and council members, I just had something I wanted to bring up to let you know about. Here about 7 or 8 years ago, I was involved with the drainage district because I used to farm the 40 acres just south of this ground. And they were going to try and lower the drain to county main. But it came to where it was only going to be about 10 to 12 inches in depth lower. And with 97% of all the landowners in the drainage district, we got it stopped because the cost was just way too much for what the advantage we were going to get by lowering the main. So I just want to make sure that if you do this, maybe it's already been worked out, but that storm drain needs to be gone someplace, and it shouldn't be, charged to any of the landowners that are farming, because, they're not doing it for that. You're doing it for development. Thank you.
Anyone out there? Welcome.
Hi, I'm Kelsey Rubish, H-R-U-B-E-S. Brandon Rubish's wife, 110 Fairway Drive, Clear Lake, Iowa. Over the weekend, I know several of you the mayor and the councilmen have received some letters, about 7 letters from owners in our Lakeside Acres Legacy Park who are in support of this project. Obviously, I'm in support of this project. He's my husband. They live out of town, so they're unable to be here tonight. So I would like to read a few of those letters. So the first one is from Dan and Lynn Odlin. They say summers at Clear Lake are enjoyed by our family at Lakeside Acres. We are the Odlins, Dan and Lynn, and have owned a mobile home in the park since 2015. We have been coming to Clear Lake for 25 plus years as Lynn's parents have a condo near the landing. Lakeside Acres has allowed our growing family, 3 grown children, their spouses, and our grandchildren, an affordable place to spend our summer weekends. We have expanded to now 3 homes in Lakeside Acres. It is also close to our boat lift. The park is very well maintained, with majority of the homes new since we first moved in 10 summers ago. The residents are friendly people who take great pride in their places. Yards are mowed nicely. Inviting decks with flowers are the norm. With little grass to mow, we have more time to enjoy the pool, the lake, area attractions, restaurants, and relaxing. We have a family farm operation in the Clarion area, several residents of Lakeside Acres Farm as well. Others are teachers, coaches, law enforcement officers, nurses, trucking company owners, food industry executives, etc. A wide variety of hardworking, focused people who enjoy the relaxed setting and spending time and money in Clear Lake. We especially like having our living space on one level, close to parking for vehicles, in-home laundry, and park amenities. We also enjoy spending time at our place in the winter for concerts, kite festival, or just a getaway. Lakeside Acres owners live on site and are very present and available for residents' needs or concerns. Many of the recent improvements have been done personally by the owners, and they strive to keep updating. Clear Lake is a wonderful tourist attraction. Parks like Lakeside Acres give people a broader choice when looking at living options, an affordable price point, the ability to design your own living space, a community setting, and it is close to the lake. Homes listed for sale in Lakeside Acres rarely stay on the market more than a few days, so we know there is a great demand. A similar potential new development would give families and individuals a chance to experience lake life like we do at Lakeside Acres. I'm not going to read all of the letters, but I'll just read a few and highlight the others and say their names.
Yeah, we all received those.
I know, I'd like them on public record, though. The next one's from Joe and Amy Faga. To whom it may concern, we would like to show our support for the project that is being proposed by Dennis and Brandon Rubish adjacent to Lakeside Acres. We are Joe and Amy Faga. We live outside of Story City, Iowa. Joe is a row crop livestock farmer, and Amy is a nurse practitioner for Iowa Specialty Clinic. Clear Lake is a town that we have enjoyed for more than 35 years, dating back to spending most summer weekends here with our families as kids. Yes, 2 lake kids met and brought their kids to the lake. 14 years ago, when we decided that we wanted to find our own space to continue to enjoy Clear Lake with our kids, we were thrilled to find a spot at Lakeside Acres. So many properties within walking distance of the lake are out of many families' budgets, so we were excited to find somewhere with affordable housing. We got lucky and found a place in Lakeside Acres right away, but many times I know this is not the case, and families wait several years for a place to become available in Lakeside Acres. Excuse me. Even with the purchase of a new home and monthly lot rent, the cost made having a lake place affordable for our family because of Lakeside Acres. We liked being able to have our own yard and space with condo multifamily housing does not offer. We have a nice sized lot in the park, and it is a perfect size for a round of yard games or a night on the porch with friends, but also does not take long to mow and maintain. We don't have any desire to spend our time that is meant for relaxing doing yard work, so it is perfect. However, what we love most about Lakeside Acres are the people. We look forward to spending our weekends in the summer with the friends we have made in the park. As our kids grew, they had an entire neighborhood of kids that could not wait to get to the lake on Friday nights to see. They could not wait to get to the lake on Friday night to see, and now they have grown into young adults, and those friendships still remain. We now meet our lake friends in Clear Lake, not just on summer weekends, but also for Christmas at the lake, the kite festival, and other random Saturdays just to watch a ball game. Why would more affordable housing benefit Clear Lake? It would give families like ours the chance to enjoy more hours together, just like we have all these years. More families would bring more business to the already great assortment of local restaurants and businesses that we enjoy around Clear Lake. The proximity to downtown was also a big draw to our family, being able to walk downtown to play at the park or beach or grab a coffee, and being able to walk to the parade on the 4th of July are things we have enjoyed over the years. This new development will offer the same opportunity. We hope Clear Lake continues to provide a space for families to create the memories of relaxing days at the lake that we have so enjoyed all these years with our families and friends. I'll just read one more, but I'll just highlight a couple others. Brian and Lori Rawson, They've been a part of Lakeside Acres, and they live in Altoona full-time, but they've been a part of Lakeside Acres for 5 years. He's a retiree of Lumen Technologies and a golf instructor. And Lori is an educator with a master's in education. They are rating to also support this new housing development. The main reasons they chose to purchase at Lakeside Acres was the price and the location. According to Realtor.com, the median cost of a home in April of 2024 in Clear Lake was over $341,000. I don't know if that's accurate, but that's what she wrote. We are not willing to spend that much on a second home. Their new home is a block from the lake, across the street, and from a park and close to downtown, where they can be involved in activities. And they like the limited yard work. Mark and Peggy Roberts, he's a licensed contractor for 40 years, is now a semi-retired working for Carl Chevrolet, and Peggy is retired from a 38-year career in nursing. They also are in support of this new to housing development. The Rubishes have made many improvements in the park. In 1 year alone, 10 new homes have been installed and more on the way. They enjoy their weekends and their days at the lake, and owning a home on the lake is just not and never will be affordable for them. And they're asking for you to consider making this new housing addition a reality for others like them. Pam Pearson wrote a letter as well. She owned a home at Lakeside Acres for 23 years. She recently just sold to go travel. They say they've seen many changes and great improvements over the years and are really proud that they chose a spot in this hidden gem in Clear Lake. The Rubishes have worked tirelessly to keep things functioning, beautifully maintained, and because of this, people are constantly looking for a place of their own at Lakeside Acres. Dave Drenner and Mary Sue Bartlett are also in support of this new project. They have lived at Lakeside Acres for 6 years. And the last letter I'll read, and I'll wrap it up. I know time is of the essence, sorry. Carrie and Denise Hicks-Cox. They are saying, Mayor Crabb, City Administrator, and City Council members, thank you for the opportunity to voice our support for the proposed development. We had the opportunity to own a unit at Lakeside Acres for 4 years. Our decision to purchase a unit was prompted by many factors: location, aesthetics of the park, price, the community feel. The park is not like the other mobile home parks in Clear Lake. It is a well-kept park with one of the owners living in the park. The owner's desire to update the park by replacing older homes is attractive for potential new tenants. It is a sought-after location in Clear Lake and provides an affordable opportunity for residents to enjoy all that Clear Lake has to offer. Lakeside Acres offers the flexibility of owning a second home at a lower cost. In the 4 years we were owners, we saw many new homes come into Lakeside Acres. Many times we were approached by people driving through, inquiring about the availability of a unit. Our decision to sell our unit this spring was prompted by a desire to explore the options available in the proposed development. We are a retired couple, lifetime residents of Ventura, and plan to move to Clear Lake as full-time residents. We are interested in owning property in a setting like the proposed development. The positive experience of having a home in Lakeside Acres gave us an opportunity to experience life at the lake and where we want the home located. We have been looking at real estate in Clear Lake for a couple years and explored the options available. This development checks off a lot of the boxes we desire in relocating to Clear Lake. This development gives residents the option of purchasing a lot and owning a new home in Clear Lake at a lower cost and provides desirable amenities of a pool and community center. It is a niche that we believe would benefit Clear Lake. We are seeking a new, affordable, single-story home. We feel that an investment in a home in this development is a good decision financially. A smaller lot is not a negative in our opinion, as minimal property upkeep is a desirable factor. Thank you for your consideration of this unique opportunity to call Clear Lake home and enjoy all that it has to offer. Respectfully, Carrie and Denise Hicks-Cox. Thank you.
You. Anyone else in the audience wish to speak to the council? Right, come on up, Dennis. Welcome.
Welcome. My name's Dennis. I'm Rubish. You know how to spell the last name. I'm a co-owner of the park. And I don't need to repeat. Brandon did very well. I'm bringing out the P's and Q's. He's got the talent of being a great speaker. When he went to Iowa State, He was elected president of Ag Business Club because people respected him. He was full of truth, integrity. He was honest, and he backed up what he said. If he brought out facts, sometimes he brought the facts of the facts. So he was very thorough. I think you found that with every meeting that you have been with us. You heard a lot of letters written about the people in the community. Just think with this new development, with people who come to live full-time, how they can be part of a community like these letters that you've heard. You get to be friends. Troy made a comment that when he's in other towns, he doesn't have that really nice, now he didn't use the words, I'm using it, but he has more connections with people in a community like we have. So that's great. I'm upset here from last week's meeting. Troy kind of bumped a little bit on it. I won't mention who said it, but someone says, well, we don't need those type of people. Now, what is Clear Lake coming to that we're going to distinguish the people who have a nicer home versus one that has a nicer castle versus someone who has maybe a $300,000 home versus someone who lives on 15th Avenue? Why should there be a level that you have to be in? I was upset when I heard that last week at the planning and zoning. So I got that off my chest. One of the things here that one of you guys is going to bring up about this project is someone will bring up the feasibility of the project and the size of the project. Okay, that's fine. Size of the project, it's like when you buy a house with a yard, that's the size of what you buy. There was a field out here that we wanted to expand in, and yes, it's 25 acres. The feasibility of it, we have it lower risk because it's in 3 compartments. We have an industrial part, we'll have a stick-built part, and we have a manufactured part. So we have a set of people that are different than the other set. So the risk is basically divided by 3. It's not like you go to Apple Valley and you got to build all $400,000, $500,000, $600,000 homes. It's all the same thing. So here our risk is limited or lessened, let's put it that way, because you have 3 different entities to promote. I'd like to respond with the quality of homes. The life was mentioned here, X number of years, life. But the homes that are brought into this community is basically on the same assembly line that some of these manufactured homes are brought in to town. There's one on 5th Avenue North, that's a block off of the Surf. Basically, it's homes are brought in on semis, put up by crane like Lego blocks. Same homes, okay? What's the length of quality of those homes? If they're built in the same factory, the life should be the same. So if someone's gonna cut down the life of these manufactured homes on wheels, then you should cut down these stackable homes that are being built. Another one's on 1st Avenue South, another one's on 14th Avenue Place South. So there is a lot of homes that are factory built and brought in on semi-trailers and stacked like the Lego blocks. I understand Scott Kennedy about drainage. We farm, so we understand what our neighbors do and how it affects our drainage on our own farm. This rerouting of tile, Brandon explained it very well. I've been at the supervisors and went through the scenario, hey, we want to develop this, and so I drew out a map, and this is what we want to do. Give it to him, the auditor's office, because they're in charge of drainage, correct?
Is that right?
Correct. Correct.
Just want to make sure I didn't say the wrong. So anyhow, I come back here last Friday, and he says, well, we're waiting for you to come back. Have you got your engineer report? And I says, we're kind of stuck in no man's land here. Jason says, well, why spend money and get the engineer's report, and then we got to pay the supervisor's engineer to say this is good, and then on our future meetings, someone in one of the committees say, no, you can't do that, so now we have to reroute the county main again to double our money. So that's why it's kind of in no man's land. It's just sitting there until it's rezoned and plotted, so we know exactly where the houses are, so we know exactly where the county main can be rerouted. And for Scott's, he didn't really ask the question, but I think this would be an improvement, because we don't know if the existing tile that was probably put in the 20s or 30s, maybe something happened to it. It's got to understand that it can collapse and maybe restrict the flow. So to me, it's a good thing for rerouting and putting brand new tile in. Someone made the comment about heavy traffic with 117 homes. Well, the apartments by Quickstar, they have 98 units. Isn't that going to add traffic to that area too? I would assume so, unless they're all going to ride bicycles. Someone made a comment about if people park along the streets. No, we're not going to allow parking on the streets. That's going to be one of the provisions you can't do. So, I'm here supporting the working class community, working class people. Without working class people, Clear Lake wouldn't be as good as they are. When people come to town, they go to restaurants, so you gotta have waitresses, you gotta have chefs. You have school teachers, teach the kids. You have nurses. If you get hurt, you go to a nurse. If you feel sick, you go to the nurse or doctor uptown. So I call all those working class. I call myself a working class citizen. So without this inner structure of people that help in the community, how can they afford these $400,000 or $500,000 homes? They can't. We have to have a lower entry home, and yes, they're smaller homes. But if anyone's noticed, when they go buy a pizza box and they pick it up and you shake it a little bit, you wonder if there's even a pizza in it. It's inflation. You don't get as much as what you did 10 years ago. So I use that as a principle of the lot sizes have to be smaller too. You can't buy the same thing what you bought 10 years ago. It's going to be smaller in size, and it's going to be more costly on top of that. So I think I know I'm missing something, but I vote yes for the project.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dennis. Last call. Not appearing, I'll entertain a motion from the council to close the public hearing.
So moved. Second.
Moved by Bennett, seconded by Dana, that we close the public hearing with regard to approval of ordinance number 881. Is there any discussion?
Yeah, Your Honor, could I go?
Sure.
I'd like to make a statement. I recently discovered I may have a conflict of interest, and because I want to avoid any appearance of impropriety, I will be abstaining from any discussion and any vote on this agenda item. Thank you.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor to close the public hearing here first. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries. All right, now we just heard from Mark that he is going to abstain. Now I would like to say just a few words, and then I'll turn it over to each of the individual council people to have them make a statement with regard to this discussion on the rezoning request. First of all, the number of meetings that several of us up here have, and in particular Scott has kind of coordinated the whole thing very well, I might say, with Dennis and Brandon, Scott, and I just last Friday. We had some good discussion in each of our offices with regard to this project. All those discussions that we had right over there around that table were done in a very respectful manner. And I, for one, I'm sure the rest of us appreciate that very much with regard to this project. For me, it's a complex project. You didn't need to answer me there. But, the amount of work that P&Z did twice. We tabled it once, sent it back to them. They brought it back to us. I was at all those meetings, and I thought Mark Bolly, who was here tonight, conducted that very professionally. There were 5 people on that P&Z board that expressed themselves afterward, and they voted in favor of it. Correct me, Mark, if I'm wrong. The discussion was very similar to what you heard tonight, this last hour. Some had question marks, but in the long run, they were there behind it. Those of us sitting up here, I probably got less because by the code of Iowa, I can't vote anytime. But then maybe the rest of them. I did get Lakeside folks who live there. I think some of those same letters that you read this evening. Believe it or not, there was one in Lakeside Acres that was against it. I thought I misread that, but there was one that misread, and I only got, I think, 4 of those letters. But I got a lot from the rest of the surrounding streets. And it comes down to density, and we've talked about this. Dennis just talked about this. In order to make anything on that particular property, density is very important. Brandon mentioned your water level is just 6 feet down. Bingo, you got water. That's another thing that you have to deal with there. It's not an easy piece of property to develop. And I, by far, am not a developer by any means, nor am I a builder. But I can understand the concern there. But I also can understand other people and the word density in that particular area. And I will leave that for my part at that point. What I would like for these council people to do in their discussion, council, I would like somewhere along the line for you to express how do you feel about this particular issue that we have before us tonight, 1. And 2, in your discussion, what do you feel is in the best interest of this community now and in the future? Mark, I understand you've abstained. Is that correct? I'll do that.
Your Honor, if I may, I just want to, with Mark's abstention, that would require to successfully move any measure forward, 3 votes. So need 3. I just want to remind you that it'll take 3 votes to move something forward.
Great.
First of all, thank you to the community for showing up and giving us your feedback. not only tonight, but also at the P&Z meeting, and then through the emails that we also received. And you can bet that I and everyone else on the council appreciates that feedback from the community and take it very seriously, read through every single comment that we get, and take that into consideration on this issue, and I'm sure all issues that we face up here. Also, I want to thank you to P&Z. I thought they did an excellent job. Was that just this last week? And it was good at the same meeting to hear feedback and then to hear the response from P&Z and to just go down the line and kind of talk to all the feedback that they had received and then what they felt, and were able to make a 5-0 decision on rezoning here and then send it back to the council. And Brandon, I just want to thank you as well. Over the last year, I haven't been involved in the last year, of course, but over the last few months, I think you've done an excellent job, not only just presenting your ideas, but when ideas from the council were presented to you or from the community, you've always taken those into consideration, and for the most part, have been able to take all those and put them into your project, which I think is huge, especially for a project like this, right? So clearly we have people on both sides of this issue, some that are ready to move forward now, some that maybe need a little bit more time, and then maybe some others that don't want to see it happen. But I think it's awesome that you were able to take all of that into consideration and make changes as we went along. And there were some big changes for you. When we talk about density, I believe you reduced the stick-built side 20% of units, if not the total 20%. I'm not sure which was 20%, but I know you made a big reduction there. These are key if we're going to try to be a community that has housing available for, when we talked about teachers, when we talk about young professionals and that, I do think you'll have to make certain changes to make that happen. And I appreciate you willing to do that throughout the process. There's definitely some good points that if we do move forward, when we talk about safety of children, when we talk about sidewalks, I've probably driven down or rode my bike to this area, I don't know how many times, just to take it all in to see if the zoning would make sense as far as what's around that area. Today I rode my bike down there and thought about the kids going from that lot over to the elementary school. I honestly couldn't ride my bike from that lot to the other one because the speed limit's 55 over there right now. So those are things, if this moves forward, we want to continue to work with the developer. So it's good to have a developer who's willing to work with us. And then we'll look at things. Well, I think we should look at things if this moves forward as far as sidewalks and other safety measures, speed limits, all those sort of safety things will be taken into consideration. With that said, at this point, I am in favor of moving forward, and that is all I will say for now.
Thank you. Beth Ann?
Yes, good evening. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I too would like to thank all those individuals who were willing to call me, send me letters, send me texts, send me emails on both sides of the issues. Even had some people come and visit me and talk with me about the issues. And I appreciated that very much, and I've taken it to heart. This is a complex issue, and there's a lot to look at. And I realize lots of things play out here. There are so many steps that we have to consider as we talk about this. Like Creighton, I spent time trying to figure out how the kids get to Clear Creek. If you're going to have young families there, that's where they're going to go to elementary school. That would have to be dealt with in time because it's not safe getting across South 8th Street as it is right now. That is a huge issue. How do we get, are the streets going to be the right size to get a fire truck down there to maneuver around to take care of a fire? There are all of those kinds of issues that concern me. But for me, one of the biggest issues is one that Scott Kennedy did bring up. It's the drainage issue. And I know that Dennis and Brandon both said that they've talked to the Board of Supervisors who are in charge of that drainage district. But I can remember my father was in charge of creating the sanitary sewer district that went all the way around the lake for Brown Engineering. And when they were putting in all of those pipes, in the early 1950s for that sanitary sewer system and all that tile. I remember him talking about all of that peat ground and how difficult that was to deal with drainage. So I would imagine some of that tile in there is stuff that my dad had put in. So I'm wondering if it wouldn't be prudent, even though the supervisors have said it's okay now, but I know it's going to be a costly process. Do we know how much it's going to cost to take care of that drainage issue? How that's going to impact property all the way around in these other areas that are already inhabited? I have concerns about that. Drainage is huge on peat ground. Peat soil is a stinker, frankly. I've seen it smoke and I've seen it get mushy. So unfortunately, I have to say no to ordinance 881.
Thank you. Bennett?
Thank you, Mayor. First of all, I would like to thank everyone who spoke at the public hearing this evening on this matter, also those that emailed. While I've received a few emails in support of this project, they have all come from folks who live outside of Clear Lake and who have a second home here, although I believe there was a gentleman here from Clear Lake tonight. So I just want to acknowledge that, and again, thank you all for coming and making your arguments. On the other hand, I received a petition, phone calls, and emails from around, I think it's over now, 100 permanent residents of Clear Lake that have expressed their opposition to this project in its current form. And I certainly want to indicate that I grant far, far more weight to their concerns. Now, again, I do appreciate the input from those who are from other places, and again, I'm very grateful that they come to Clear Lake, so I just want to make that clear. But on this issue, there's a mix of concerns related to the mix of housing types that's proposed, the density of such housing, and as Beth Ann just mentioned, the drainage. So I am a firm no on this proposal. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Dana?
I almost feel like we don't need to go any further if we need three, but I will make a few comments. There's been a lot of thank yous, and I thank you as well, everybody that's looking through the camera into their TV tonight. I've been up here 3 terms now. This is my 3rd term. And for the first 2 terms, I heard a lot of this. Housing. We need housing. When are people going to come to Clear Lake and build houses? That's a great question. When are they? They're here. They're actually here. We got the apartments going up. We got duplexes going up. We got South Shore Estates going up. And we got the Rubishes that are here and wanting to build something in our community that is unique. The mayor said unique, and I think it is unique. But to me personally, I look at this, when I look at the pictures and the pool and the public activities that could be had and all the things that the people said that make Clear Lake awesome, because Clear Lake is awesome. This is a blessing to live here. And I looked at the housing up there, and I thought Jennifer would leave it up there, but she didn't. And that's okay. But if you look at the surrounding areas and you take the cabins that are all on South Shore there, you take the Clear Lake cottages, you take all those little homes that are around the surf, they're all small and they're all on little lots. But boy, isn't it awesome to be able to rent one of those, Airbnb. I think I saw a while back, we have like almost 180 Airbnbs in Clear Lake. That's mind-blowing. At one point, we tried to monitor that a little bit because it seemed like it was getting a little bit out of control. But the bottom line is it's unique because we're in a lake community, and that brings opportunities that other towns don't have, like the one lady, I think Melinda said. Other towns would love to have an opportunity for somebody to come along, and we have all kinds of opposition and rebuttals and different things for Dennis and Brandon because, yes, they haven't gone out and built massive big duplex or developments, but it all starts with a vision, and everybody started somewhere. There's a lot of companies that started with a wheelbarrow and 2 shovels in the back of a truck, and they're as big as Dean Snyder today. So I'm a yes vote. I would love to see something like this in Clear Lake. I'm going to continue to stay excited about something like this in Clear Lake because this is so needed. We've been asking for somebody to come along and do affordable housing. Now, I know some people call it low income. We have 3 or 4 or 5, if you go around Clear Lake, low income housing areas. And uniquely enough, those are all good areas. You know, a lot of times people go, oh, low income, it's going to be, catastrophe, and it's going to be a problem in your community. It's just not in Clear Lake, and that's what makes us unique. Even from the lowest income to the highest income, we all get along and we all love each other. And we all can come around the fire pit and have fun and talk about family and what we're going to do tomorrow and all that. So I just encourage you to continue to figure out where we go next, keep moving this thing forward. I think it would be different if you made it contingent upon our approval. And I think at some point when we sit up here at the dais, in our minds, we say, well, we wish they would have done all this before. But as a real estate investor myself, sometimes you've got to purchase something to be able to do something with it. And to go and do all the different steps, because this is a multiple year process, it doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen quickly. By the time you get 2 of your ducks in a row and you got 10 ducks to get in a row, you may have lost the property. So a lot of times you've got to secure that piece of property in order to make something like this happen. So I just encourage you to keep fighting the fight. Something's going to happen. Keep talking to us. You know, I've encouraged you guys all along just to keep an open dialogue. And that is the nice thing, because we can do this. Scott would tell you he watches city council meetings in other towns. I do not. I don't have interest in that personally. I probably should. I'd probably be a more professional speaker. But Scott loves to do that, and sometimes Scott will say, some cities are a mess. Well, we're not. This is awesome, because we can all get along. I know Dennis and Brandon, you guys are steaming, you're frustrated. I get it. Again, as a real estate investor, I will say this, that there are people sitting in the audience, myself included, that have been trying to buy some of the mobile home parks. They're not selling because they're gold mines. Doesn't mean that they're not beautiful and well kept. It's just that the money is good because mobile home parks are lucrative. And 2 of them, one guy lives in Florida, and another one lives in California, I believe. And they don't care. They don't live here. They don't have to see what we see. But the bottom line is, if they could be bought, this community would buy them and we would fix them up. And I'm going to continue to try and work on the one on 10th. I've tried to purchase that more than once. I live over there. I'm tired of seeing it. But it takes somebody with a vision and the ability to get in there and make it happen. So there's a lot I want to say. You did a great job, Brandon. Every time you come to the podium, you give us lots of good information. I just think this is, like others have said, a complex and unique development, to the extent that it's just hard for some of us to get over the hurdle.
Thank you all. Now we have to take official action on ordinance number 881. You've all expressed your opinion at this point, but this is the official one. I'll entertain a motion with regard to ordinance number 881. Anyone can make that?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Dana, seconded by Creighton, that we take action on ordinance 881. It's an ordinance amending the official zoning map of the city of Clear Lake, Iowa to rezone certain property. Roll call. Mark?
I abstain.
Creighton?
Yes.
Beth Ann?
No.
Bennett?
No.
Dana?
Yes.
We have a 2-2 tie, and as Scott mentioned earlier, according to the Iowa code, I think I'm correct on this, Scott, if there is a tie, motion fails.
That would fail, Your Honor. I just offer for the council's consideration if part of ordinance would be considered, if you wanted to approve the RS-12 and the CI-1 zoning change and not the overlay, you could do that. If anyone wants to move forward on that. Okay.
I would not be in favor of that.
I hear no response.
Okay.
No.
I hear no response. Okay. All right. Thank you, all of you. It's been a long night. I appreciate everyone being here. This is your community at work. Thank you. Thank you for your attendance. Now we'll move on to number 7 on the agenda. Chief of Police report. We can wait just a minute, Chief, if you want. Welcome back, Chief.
Thank you. Evening, Mayor and Council. Just one real quick thing to speed the night along for you. On the agenda, there's an update for the outdoor warning sirens. As you're all aware, over the last 12 to 18 months, the county received a grant, a federal grant to replace all the sirens throughout the county. With that upgrade, the sirens have a feature inside them that automatically go off when there's a warning that qualifies for an activation of sirens. And starting sometime around the middle of May to the late May, we had some activations in Clear Lake that were accidental or were going off on their own. So after some investigation through RC Systems, who was the vendor who purchased and installed the sirens, they located that some of the control boards actually had some moisture get onto them inside the weatherproof boxes at the actual site, which activated the sirens there manually too. So I just got a letter from RC Systems today letting us know that was their best guess for the reason of the activation. Emergency management does manage the sirens, does own the sirens. They do all the maintenance on them. The cities within the county are out of the siren maintenance issue too. But I spoke with Eric Whipple earlier today, and he was unable to make it here. He's out of town on a conference too. But I know there's been some concern as the sirens going off. And we were having those activations because we were getting rain, and so there was activations. We didn't actually have a warning. Well, that's why. It's because there was some water leaking into those supposedly stormproof cabinets. The storm siren number 104, which is at 5th and Highway 18, was the problem child that we had throughout May. The inside of that has been completely replaced, so we should not have any more activations accidentally there too. But again, they're doing some testing on those boards there, and they're trying to figure out why or where that moisture came in from, because the boxes that hold that control system is supposed to be completely weatherproof too. So I sent Jennifer a letter that I got from RC Systems today that should be in your emails. Wouldn't have done at the council today to read through that letter through them. And I know when Eric gets back from his conference, they're monitoring those sirens daily, other than the time that he's out of the town for the conference there too. So if you have any questions, I'm trying to relay information that RC gave to Eric gave to me to can present to you guys as the council there too. But we have tried to communicate as much as we can with emergency management to get the problem solved, and I think they're on the right track. If they don't already have it solved, they should have it resolved here fairly quickly. I know they've been up several times from their technician in Kansas City, on the holiday weekend last weekend, looking at the issues there too. So any questions?
Yeah, Mike, if you give me the permission, I'll go up there with a tube of silicone and I'll seal that box up really good so it doesn't wake me up again in the middle of the night.
Yeah, so Eric, I was on vacation, as you, I think, may have known last week, and it went off, and I called Eric, and he and I had a discussion. He actually went to the site in the middle of a rainstorm and was going to unplug it. RC Systems said that if you do that, that's fine. Make sure you have an ambulance standby because it's very high voltage going through there. Be trained electrician to go through and do it. So I hear what you're saying.
I'm just
but they don't know where the water's getting in there at though too is the thing. So I'm not sure where you put the silicone caulk at to seal it up, but we're working. Hopefully it's fixed now.
Don't let that stop you.
I got an AED if you need it, but so hopefully it's solved. It was kind of a hair-pulling situation, but I think they've got it resolved there too. And the part of the problem was we lost local control when I went to the emergency management control there too. It's a great system. Statewide, it's been phenomenal for everybody else that's had it. We just, sounds like we got a bad box and they're trying to fix it there. Other questions?
Got a new officer?
We do. Officer Grimm will be starting with us on the 10th. He's a certified officer coming from Sioux County. Just had a baby 2 weeks ago, so we pushed back his start date a little bit. So we had some time with his infant child who's got some medical issues we're working through too. Yes. And we had a great time at the try. It went off. I think Stacy and I talked throughout the day. Best try we've had, at least on our management side of it there. Hopefully it was the same for everybody that came and enjoyed the weekend up here, and for the racers. But on behind the scenes stuff for us, it went the best we've ever had. And then just one last thing, Kelsey Hammerstadt, one of our dispatchers, put her 2 weeks notice in. She accepted a job with Bay City Police Department to go be a police officer. It's been a lifelong dream of hers to go work there too. So sad to lose her. Happy that she gets to realize a dream of hers too. But we'll work through that, filling that process or that spot too. But we'll be sad to miss her. She's been very dedicated to the city, not just in the dispatch center. She's volunteered for peer support, Meet the Machine, all those other activities too, and very involved too. So she'll be a big loss, but happy for her also that she's go and do what she wants to do also.
Yeah, with all the news, that's good news, you know,
Yeah.
about that. Great.
Yes.
Anything
Questions
else,
for you?
council? Hey, thanks, appreciate it. Jacob, oh, good. Jeremy?
I'll just say we're here spraying for mosquitoes tonight, so everybody let that go. Finally had a night without winds that were not conducive to spraying. Other than that, Meet the Machine convention, we'll have some equipment up there we'll clean up and have all that for that, the activities on Saturday. That's all I got.
It's the big engine deal, is that what that is, or whatever they call it, big truck?
Meet the Machine, yeah.
At the wellness center? Mhm. That'll be neat. I want to go. All right, Public Works, who's next? City Engineer. Doctors.
All right. Great news, not so great news. A lot of projects, great projects going on. About an hour and 45 minutes to get through this.
You'll be the only one
I'll
standing.
roll through these quick. Don't worry, don't worry. So first up, municipal band shell project, Lakeview Room. So the Lakeview Room portion has again been more or less completed. Carpet, paint, lights, they're all installed. Family restroom has been brought up. It's brought up to date. That's all the tiles completed. The only thing that we're running behind on in there is the casework. So we worked with Seth and Daryl from Dean Snyder Construction throughout the process. They were good enough to go get some temporary casework, some cabinetry, everything to get that put in the Lakeview Room to accommodate our rental season kicking off. So to my knowledge, everybody was happy with that. It looked presentable. And we also got appliances put in right at the nick of time there. So those went in Friday. And big shout out there too to Seth and Tiffany Townsend. They stayed late getting everything, supplies in there for the renters, and just shout out to them for their work. Next up here, unless you guys have any questions about that one. No? Okay, we'll move on. Update on South Shore Estates. All curb and gutter has been completed, as well as the PCC roadway portion. They're currently working on getting some sidewalks added. Staking is currently taking place for the contractor to come back in and pour driveways. All of the underground utility infrastructure has been completed. Utility services have been run. Subdrain is the next thing to go in, and the contractor's working on that right now. So that's kind of the update on that project as it moves forward. I will keep you guys in the loop. Any questions?
Matt, could you give us an update on the sidewalks? I know you're working on trying to.
Yeah, so
Get some-
I've been super busy with the SERP district this week so far, so that's gonna kind of be hopefully in the latter part of this week. I'm gonna reach out to some property owners in between South Shore Estates and the park. And we're gonna try to get them, hopefully to voluntarily get some sidewalk put in there at, we'll be covering the labor end of things if they will cover the PCC portion of that. So we're gonna try to get into those discussions.
They're gonna want to slam the door on you because they're not gonna want to help pay for it, but just remind them of all the kids up the road.
More than likely, and it's a project that is going to happen, and this is a good way for them to get out of all the engineering fees and everything that's going to come in the future. So it could be a lot more costly down the road too. So it's given them a good option, I think, and I think it's great for the community to be a part of something like that, so that we can transport those folks, where they need to go in the community. So up next, unless there's anything else on that, we're going to move into update on the Surf District Streetscape project. So as you guys all know, I spend quite a bit of time there, and this is a very dynamic project. We're dealing with so much underground infrastructure there that we do a lot of changes on the fly and accommodations to make the construction process more feasible for the contractors to do. And this is an all-day, daily occurrence that, it's a complex project to get everything done that we're shooting for there. And we just want to make sure that we get the city and the community the best, project possible and what everybody deserves and is hoping for. So we're currently working on North Shore, and we have got a few places left on there to get PCC put in on the roadway portion, and we got the sidewalk to continue with in front of the surf district. And then we're wrapping up the intersection of North Shore and Buddy Holly as we speak, and we have started demolition going down Buddy Holly to the north. So we're currently going between North Shore and 6th Ave. And then we've also decided, I've had Yon Company move forward through 6th Avenue to get that intersection completed. And then as soon as we button all that up, then that will allow us to open up North Shore to 6th Avenue for traffic to go through as a detour route while we close down from 6th to 7th. It's a lot of business coordination between 6th and 7th that we got to worry about and contend with. So, we're making sure that we're keeping up to date with those business owners there and making sure that we're accommodating those needs as we move forward. So that's kind of the long and short on the surf district. You guys have any questions on that one? It kind of runs in, it's a two-pronged approach here. It runs in with the surf district MEIC project as well, as they're kind of both going concurrently. And that project is still, in, I would classify the preliminary foundation stage. So there's not a lot to report on that. They're getting the walls completed on the foundation, and then we're going to start to really go vertically pretty soon. And as that gets done, Jan is focused on getting the sub-drain and everything buttoned up around the outside, getting the drain tiles around the building and hooked into the storm sewer, and then backfill, and then we're going to start moving on from there. So, any questions on any of this? All right. Update on the alley paving improvement project. That one is, again, that's in the preliminary phase right now of construction. They're doing subgrade prep right now to do PCC in the alleyway. They've got the underground infrastructure connected. They had some roof drains they had to reroute and connect into our storm tile, and that's been completed. And now, like I said, we're moving on to the alley portion, and I'll update you as that continues on, but everything's going well for right now. Last up here, update on City Hall. So I was, as I stated, I was busy today in the surf district project. I heard generally rock that meeting, so there's not a whole lot for me to worry about. But the ballistic glass is set for the office entryway there is set to be completed and shipped this Friday. And Eddie's will have glass for the remaining windows to get installed. They're going to have that next Wednesday. So I would expect the windows to go in. Potentially some door frame, the remaining door frames. The ballistic glass, that's going to have to wait for the casework to get finished. So it's a constant problem on all projects that we're facing right now. The casework is kind of the limiting. It's kind of the loose end on everything where they're just not giving good timelines and everybody's super swamped. So we're gonna, look to push as hard as we can on that to get that in as soon as possible. We're still looking, good as of right now. Carpets installed, the back stairs and sidewalk have been installed out to the public sidewalk. And there's a few ceiling panels that need to be installed yet. There's going to be a lot of touch-up paint, things like that, final cleaning, and then obviously that casework that needs to get installed. That will really be the last thing, and then the ballistic glass goes in, and we're off to the races. So furniture's set to come, at least most of the furniture is set to come on June 24th. So we're still hoping, potentially get in there by the end of this month, as long as casework, comes in a timely manner here. So we're still looking okay, and I'll just keep you guys up to date on how that moves forward. If you guys have any questions at all, I'd be happy to answer.
Good news. Thank you. Stace, do you have any?
Our triathlon was over faster than this meeting.
I lost less water during the triathlon as well.
I wanted to take a minute to talk a little bit about the tri. I know that Chief Colby mentioned that things went smoother than they ever have, and I would just like to concur. There are so many people who make this event happen. It is a community-wide initiative. We had 3 pros, 520 athletes, great support from the city and county. I mean, from parks getting the flowers up to Matt making sure that they had North Shore open for the run, Public Works dropping off all the barricades for us, Ventura and Clear Lake Fire were out on the course. We had great communication and great coordination from Chief Colby and his team. They were there from the start of the race to the end of the race, making sure that all of our critical intersections had some kind of law enforcement presence. He coordinated with troopers and Saragordo County Sheriff's Department, and so the race was just well supported. I had several conversations with athletes after the event. One pro athlete said this is her favorite race of the year, a pro athlete. A Seattle-based athlete said he travels all over the country to do triathlons, and our triathlon is on par with national level events. And so I guess I just want to say thank you for your support. Thank you for helping us make sure that this event happens and that everything goes smoothly and that people are safe. And also just want to thank our over 200 volunteers who, you know, get up on a Saturday morning, some at 3 a.m. To make sure that the event goes off without a hitch. So Jen serves on that committee as well. So lots of people to thank. It's really appreciated, and wanted to give a quick update on that. Thursday's Main started last week. We had 8,200 people for our Place for AI Day to come downtown sometime on Thursday last week. Last year we averaged about 7,000 a week, so we're starting things off with a bang this summer.
You know, the one thing you said, Stace, shortly thereafter, I don't know where I was, but you said, you know, you gave a lot of compliments to the police department, and you know, it's such a key to have that organized and to have those maps out way ahead of time when you have that many people all over the community. Well, mostly along the lake, but still, that occupies the central part of it, and to have that organization is really key. I was there most of the morning, and yeah, you know, there wasn't a blemish there at all.
And Creighton competed.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, and he didn't have to hang on.
I was on the opposite side. She talked about the pros. I was on the opposite side of that. But I do want to thank you, Stacy, and everyone at the chamber, the volunteers that put it on, the police department. From someone who's very inexperienced, never done anything like that before. It's awesome, and just an awesome way for our community to come together. Volunteers are not even, I mean, some people are just out there watching and cheering people on, which is excellent as well, and it makes a difference to the people running it. At least it did for me. So thank you, and just a great community event, and glad to be a part of it.
That water had to be cold. Yeah, I don't have anything other than that children's big machine thing. I think that's going to be exciting to a lot of young kids out there Saturday morning. I believe that's when it's going to be. Scott, you're up.
About 2 minutes here at the most. So, update on the RFP for the immersive museum and integration content development. So we got 3 proposals back for that. So, one from Chicago, one from Boston, then the firm in Marshalltown. So far, I haven't had a lot of chance to look through it, but we got a group of 5 here. They're going to go through that and review those and do interviews and come back at some point here with a recommendation on that. And then just a reminder, I know Nelson and I are involved with this, but the feasibility study, the consultant for Consult Econ will be here tonight, and then we'll meet with him tomorrow. So that's it.
Anything else, council? Thank you, each and every one of you. Appreciate it. Meeting adjourned.
Thank you.